I'm gonna say this real quick, and people ain't gotta agree with me. People can sit on the internet and try to drag me. I do not care, but I'm gonna die on a hill on this one. So guess what? Rest in peace to that woman. But I'm gonna tell you something. There's another video circulating right now of a black woman and her son being harassed inside of a movie theater by one of them. Okay? And to the point where that lady got physical with that black woman. And hear me when I say this. Hear me when I say this. Whether I don't know if that woman got a man or not. But with everything that's going on right now, I'm really starting to realize the value of having a man in the house. I'm really starting to realize that. I'm really starting to realize the value of what it is to have a man for protection. Because mind you, I've been on that whole masculine, I could do it all by myself, I could do it all on my own, blah, blah, blah. But really we cannot. And I'm going to tell you something, and people do not have to agree with me. But if you really take time and look from a different perspective, if there was a man in that home with that Miss Massey that got just recently got gone away. If there was a man in the home, I promise you that man would have never let those police officers come into her home.
First of all, if it was a man there, she wouldn't have had to been worrying about calling the police for an intruder in the first place, because the responsibility of dealing with the intruder would have automatically gone to the man. And so just out the gate, having a man there would have relinquished you of the responsibility of having to worry about protecting that house in the first place. She really hitting on some points. She seems like that there's just a bit of apprehension there, because she's just now coming over into the realization of the importance of needing black men in the homes with their families. Because like she says, the world has to treat us in a different way when we have black men there. And what she really wants to say as we go through the video is, and it seemed to me like she almost said it, was like, it would have been a man between that bullet and her. And literally, that is the job of a man as it relates to protecting his family. If he got to jump in front of a car, a bullet, whatever it is, then that's just what needs to happen. And that's why having a man at the head and leading, and him not dealing with all the extra BS is so important, because his job, his responsibility, one of his responsibilities is to put his life on the line for his family.
He would have talked with them on the front porch. So in my personal opinion, I believe they understood that she was a single black woman by herself, and they took advantage of that. And they entered into her home. And she was vulnerable. She was scared to the point where you saw her get up and go into her kitchen, because that was the only place where she felt safe. But in my opinion, if there was a man in that house, a man would have never let two men with firearms come into their home. They would have met that man at the door.
They would have most definitely met that man at the door. And not only that, when white men, Mexican men, it could have been any race of police officer, when they see a man there, they're going to treat the situation different. It's just like that in life, period. Like people, men, women, children, everyone treats men and women differently. A man, you got to come to him with respect, because you already know you might be battling it out in the streets with him. It could get down over his family, like even to the point of, you know what I'm saying, some gunplay if necessary. And so they're going to automatically treat the situation differently. And that's why it's so important to have a man in the house. And that lady was afraid. I watched the video. I've watched some of the parts where they've slowed it down, and the whole thing is just odd. But she seemed very scared. She seemed apprehensive and fearful and nervous about something. And then when she was talking to the police operator, whatever you call her, dispatch person, she didn't want to get off the phone with that person. He's like, well, the police officers are there, so, we can, you can go ahead and talk to them. And then next thing you know, things just spin out of control, which to me, I still don't know or can't figure out what it was that make things spin out of control like that. It's like this guy in his mind, he had it in his mind to lay a black person down that day. And it's some crazy race soldier type cats out here with these uniforms on. That goes back to my point. If there's a man there, they're gonna have to treat the situation differently. And like I said, he could have walked to the door and said, man, look, I walked around my whole house. I walked around the perimeter of my house, outside, in the back. I didn't see nobody. Y'all can go ahead about y'all business. Appreciate you for showing up. Or like I said, in the first place, it probably wouldn't have been no police officers involved, period, because the man would have searched his home front to back, outside, inside, garage, whatever, the whole perimeter. Maybe the next door's neighbor's house knocked on the door. Did you hear anything? And the police would have never had to have been called in the first place. But that's the benefit of having a man there. And if he loves you, if he loves his children, he will lay down his life to protect you and those children. And that's what he's supposed to do.
And I'm just saying, I could die on a hill by myself with this one.
And
but
you probably will for a while.
That we as women start being these damsels in distress and start taking value of what it is to have a man in the house. Because to be straight up, it would have been a man between those police officers and her. It would have been a man right there at the door. You get what I'm saying? So this really shook me into realizing the value of the black families. We need to rise up. There needs to be a man in the house. We got to stop pushing this single narrative. We do not need to be single out here. We need a man in the house. We need the protection, the security. Because
and see, that's the thing with today's women, man. You think that it's about a man controlling. I don't want no man at the head. Women think that their role is diminished by having a man in the house, or a man at the head of the house, the man the head of his wife, the man the head of his family. Your role is not diminished. It's that your role is so important. You are the cornerstone of the family. Your role is so important for the future of our race, of our nation, that God makes man a covering for you to protect you. That doesn't diminish who you are. But remember one thing, you can't protect nothing or nobody that's out of control. So there has to be some measure of control, because I can't tell you, hey, don't go in the back of that house. I heard something. You just say, oh, hell, I want what's back there. I'm going to do what the hell I want to do. You know what I'm saying? I can't protect you that way. Ain't no way I can protect you. So at the end of the day, women just say to hell with men, because I don't want to deal with what come with relinquishing my role as the leader in the head. So I just won't deal with them at all. I'm not going to put myself in a situation to where a man can control me. What? I'm not going to submit to no man. But if you want protection, you're going to have to submit. You're going to have to. You're going to have to be in some measure of his control. That's for his kids, his dog, and whatever the situation is. Nothing can be out of control within his kingdom, which is his household. And it's not about turning nobody into no robot, or abusing somebody, or misusing or miscommunicating freely with somebody, or none of that, or telling you what to do. It's just respecting my decisions that you're going to make with me. We're going to make them together, but the buck stops with me, because my role for the family is different than yours. Let's proceed.
Have a man, that outside world got to approach us differently. You get what I'm saying? So the next relationship I get into, I'm very much going to value it like nobody's business. 100%. Pay attention to what I'm saying.
It seems as if she basically said too that she hasn't valued it. I mean, by her own admission, it seems like she hasn't valued their role for men. And now this is like a wake-up call. And guess what? There's going to be more of it, because we're living in a climate and in a world right now where violence is on the rise. It's not just violence from other races. It's so much violence that takes place within our own communities at the hands of our own people. And men need to be there to protect their families. I mean, it's a crazy, cruel, callous, cold world that we live in at this time. And our dear sisters gotta wake up, and men do too. Men do too, because I'm not saying that I'm not actually pointing the finger at anybody. We got to work this thing out together. But women who have bought into, our women, I should say, have bought into this feminism crap, and it's I'm liberated, I'm free, and you are free. You're free from protection. That's what you are. And so you're vulnerable. That's what you are. You're free from protection and you're vulnerable. And you're going to have to get rid of that mindset. You're going to have to get rid of that mindset if you want to be under the protection of a man, which is the natural order of things. There's a reason why it's a hierarchy in the family. And when you say hierarchy, they're saying, in their mind, they think, oh, well, the man's higher than me. It don't got nothing to do with that. The man's at the top because he's the covering for everything that's below him. He's the leader. He's the head, the protector, the one that's going to guide the family into the right direction. That's what he was. That's the way God made it. If you mad about it, take it up with the Lord. That's what I tell people now. I ain't even about to argue with you about this situation. About the hierarchy of the family. If you're upset about it, you don't like it, take it up with God, because he made it that way. But this sister, she's spot on. She got it right. And I hope that all those who view this video will actually look at it and take it in as and use it in a constructive way, and figure out how you can make maybe the situation that you're already in with the man better and more conducive to him protecting you and his children. But listen, if you made it this far, I just want to tell you I love you and appreciate you. If you want to support this channel, please give us a thumbs up. If you're not a part of our family, this wonderful young black and wealthy family all over social media, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button, and turn on notifications so you can see every short, every video that we drop on the channel. So I thank y'all and appreciate y'all. Go down in the comment section and let me know what y'all think, and I'll see y'all in the next video. God bless.